Please feel free to comment about the show. Now, let's join today's Sports Zone. It's the Sports Zone with Keith Myers and the Indiana SRN Sports Team, made possible by Morales Group, College Hunks and Movers, the IHSAA, and Aspen Creek Grill. Now, let's join Keith and his guests.
Well, good morning. It is the Sports Zone on the hotline. Good friend of ours, Coach Kevin Miller, who coaches at Pike High School. Boy, you've been at Pike. You were the head coach at Knightstown. That's when we first met, and you've been around. And somehow you think defense wins championships.
Well, that's always been my thing. That's what I played in when I played at the University of Evansville. I played on the defense, and I just really fell in love with the idea of scheming to stop some of these crazy offenses that we see nowadays. So it's always kind of been my passion is to be on the defensive side.
You've been in coaching for a long time. What got you involved in coaching? I know you played and you were a very good player, but what got you in coaching? What person in your life that said you could be a coach? Why don't you be a coach?
Well, that's a great question. I had a high school coach. His name's Craig Potter. He spent time at Greenfield, but then he spent most of his time at Perry Meridian. And he was my coach from my sophomore, junior, and senior year of high school. And I would say him and a gentleman named Randy Combs, who's the head basketball coach down at Milan. I would say, those guys kind of gave me this idea in my head. And after going to college, I would still, every Friday night that we had a home Saturday game at Evansville, me and about three of our other defensive line guys, we would always go watch a high school football game. Might have been a little bit to stay out of trouble and be smart on a Friday night.
Yes.
But it was also, we just liked watching ball, and we would go do that. And we would sit up in the stands away from everybody so we could X and O and talk about what they're doing right or what they're doing wrong. And I would say it just kind of built from there. I got into student teaching, and a real good friend of mine, Jerry Bland, he coached for years, but now he's the assistant principal down in Edgewood, down near Bloomington. And, between those three guys, I would say that's kind of been my driving force. And then my first year out, I volunteer coach at Evansville North High School, and we go all the way to the state championship. So that was the one time where I thought, well, this is going to be easy.
Yeah.
And 25 years later, I haven't been back except to watch in the stands or a regular season game. But it's always been the driving force is to get back to that level.
You go back to your Knightstown days, and I can still remember the night we met you. You were just so relaxed. You were ready to play. That Knightstown team was a little weaker than the teams that you had before then, but you guys were set, ready to go. Then all of a sudden, I realized that you went to Newcastle, and we had the Newcastle game, and Indiana SRN covered all those games, and we developed to have a really good friendship. And it's been a pleasure to get to know you and all the things that you do. And it is so hard now at this time of stage to get kids maybe motivated to lift weights, but you feel like you guys are doing that with Zoom and all kinds of other stuff to get kids ready for the football season, because football season is coming in August.
Yeah, well, I mean, we have our fingers crossed that we're going to be doing something in August. We do. Our head coach, Pat Echeverria, Pat was at Eastern Hancock when I was at Knightstown. So when he took the Pike job, word got around that I was interested in looking and getting back into Marion County a little bit, where I'd spent 10 years at Southport. And it just kind of worked out. They had a position, had a teaching position. So I got into high school, and it's just kind of snowballed since then. But he sends every day, he sends an upper body or a lower body workout out to all of our kids. Now that's 215 kids that we have on an email or on a remind list. And that's just 9th, 10th, and 11th, 8, 9, 10, 11, upcoming freshman through junior. So it's very tough to keep them on the right page. We're still on spring break as of right now. We come back on Monday, and I know we're setting up meetings with our position players that we'll do through Zoom and talk to them about certain drills they can be doing at home. Because I don't know what's going to come of this. I think the May 1st thing is probably going to be extended, but that's just my personal opinion, but I don't really know. So it'll just be interesting to see what happens between now and then.
Talk a little bit about what coaches go through on Friday night. As a head coach, you can speak at that as an assistant, but there are some wacky stuff that goes on. I know Pat has a routine that he picks out the footballs and he puts them on each hash mark, and I know that Mark Weller walks the field and he puts the yard markers down, and Mike Kirshner does his little walk. Is that a habit? Is that something to break nerves? I know when I officiated, I always wanted to go out on field before we got dressed and then check the field and then go get dressed. I did that just because I wanted to just relax. Is that just one of those wacky things that coaches do?
Well, we try to move the footballs on Coach Echeverria.
Oh yes, I saw that 4 or 5 times last year.
But now I go out when we first get there. It's always so crowded, and there's like 8 million questions going on in the locker room. So I always tell my assistants, I'm like, hey, you guys go in, get them squared away. I said, I'm going to go take this stuff out to the field. Well, I'll walk out and just drop the stuff off, and then I go back and just sit down. I've never been the walk the field, set the balls, anything like that. It's never been my thing, but I know a lot of guys that do. I think it's just a nerve thing. For me, I'm a pretty laid back individual until it comes game time. When it comes game time, it's I've always had a thing, and actually Larry Willen was a good friend coach of mine who passed away last football season. Warren Central's equipment man, and Mr. Warren Central is what I've always called him.
Yes.
And Larry we'd go out for warm-ups, and I remember this in high school. We'd go out for warm-ups, and we'd be doing everything, and he'd yell at us because that's what he was good at. Was yelling at us, but we'd go out on the sideline, and they're getting ready to kick off or so, and he'd take his hat and he'd turn it around backwards. And I never said much about it. I didn't think anything about it at the time as a sophomore or a junior. So I think it was my senior year. Towards the end of my senior year, we got to be pretty good friends as coach and player. And I asked him, I said, "What do you do that for?" He said, "Well," he goes, "it's time to go to work." And from that point on, every time, if you ever see me coaching, unless it's a Saturday afternoon game where I have to try to keep the sun out of my eyes or whatever, I'll always turn my hat around. So to me, that's the switch. It's time to go. There's no looking back from this point forward. Everything we have is what we have, and all we can do is play the game. So that's always been my thing. Pre-game stuff has never been much of a. I just don't like going out in pregame and looking nasty in warm-ups. That's what always worried me, that we drop every ball we throw or we fumble everything we touch, and I'm like, boy, this is really giving a bad look for us. But that was the only thing that ever worried me.
So I got something for you this year, Coach. Just go to the concession stand, get you some popcorn and nachos, and eat you a popcorn and nachos before you guys come out.
Well, I'm afraid that'll come up. I still get a little wheezy in the belly. I definitely get a little keyed up. Coach Etch allowed me, because him being the main guy, and Keith Hollins is our defensive coordinator. Well, there's a little pecking order there. So I was kind of next in line defensively, and then we had a guy that was next in line offensively, and he would always let the two of us give the pregame talk. And mine was always very entertaining and short. And the other guy, he'd always say, hey, he goes, after the first one, he went first and then I went second. And afterwards he looked at me and he goes, why don't you go first? So I went first and got him kind of fired up, and then he kind of brought him back down, and then Coach Etch brought him back up again. So it was a good scenario, and it was fun. I look forward to it again. I started in the press box last year at Pike for about 4 games. Yeah, 4 games. And as we were talking back and forth and doing this and doing that and relaying information, finally the defensive coordinator and Pat came up, and they were both like, listen, come down on the field. We're going to put him up there. You take this group when they come off the field and fix the problems and draw on the boards and watch this and do that. And I was like, all right, fine. So I went back down on the field, and I told my wife I was going back down on the field, and she just hung her head because she was like, don't do something stupid. Don't run and hurt yourself. I was like, I won't, because I've got a bad hip that's supposed to get replaced June 1st, but right now I don't think it's going to happen. Right. So I'm a little worried about that.
Yeah. Coach, we're going to take a break. When we come back in about 2 minutes, we're going to talk about your favorite highlight as a coach and maybe as a player. We'll take a break.
Yes, sir.
We'll be right back after this. You're listening to The Sports Zone on Indiana SRN.
There's no greater anti-poverty measure than to give a person a job. That helps them start to change that trajectory. Thousands of people get jobs here from all of these diverse backgrounds. We're helping write that story of that better future that we know they can get, we know that they deserve.
Morales Group is a full-service staffing company that provides temporary labor in the Indianapolis, Central Indiana market.
Come talk to us. We would love to work with you.
So you called us because you're stressed from all that clutter taking up your space. The best part is we do all the heavy lifting for you, so you can just sit back and relax. Our hunks call at least 20 to 30 minutes prior to your appointment window. You don't need to lift a finger except to point what items you would like us to haul away. Thanks again for choosing College Hunks Hauling Junk, and we look forward to providing you with a stress-free hauling experience.
You're listening to Indiana SRN, God's Word 24/7, and sports.
Question. When you walk into the boardrooms of the most successful companies here in Indiana, who do you meet? Answer. Men and women who played high school sports. Education-based high school sports give us more than athletes we can root for. They give us leaders we can depend on. Question. So where will we find tomorrow's leaders? Answer. High school sports.
This message presented by the Indiana High School Athletic Association and the Indiana Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
Craving comfort fresh food made from scratch daily? Check out Aspen Creek Grill. Located across from Hamilton Town Center and beside the Holiday Inn, we offer family farm-raised premium Black Agnes steaks hand-cut daily, creamy pastas, salmon chicken, and fall-off-the-bone ribs. Start with our famous powwow shrimp appetizer, and don't miss our refreshing drinks. Family-friendly or a great night out with friends. Aspen Creek Grill. Aspen Creek Grill, Noblesville. Call 317-559-3300.
You're listening to Indiana SRN, home for God's Word 24/7 and sports. Back on the Sports Zone, Keith Myers. Coach Kevin Miller is on the hotline. Kevin, you know, you've coached and you played. Maybe one of the highlights as a player and as a coach, you could reminisce about those two things.
Well, you know, as you said that, we hit the break, I was kind of sitting here kind of thinking, wow, where do I go? You know, as a coach, anytime you make a state championship, it doesn't matter if it's I was a volunteer assistant fresh out of college, but that was a huge moment for me and for everything. But I think since that point, I became a head coach at 28 years old down at South Dearborn, which is in Aurora, Indiana, all the way down the Lawrenceburg, Aurora area. And this was like made for TV movie. Our first game, which we should have never been playing these guys, was the Perry Meridian Falcons. And the head coach was Craig Potter, which was my high school head coach. So I would say that's still always was one of those games that I'll never forget the whole mentality of it or the whole idea. And they destroyed us because we weren't very good yet. We were just building, coming off of like 2 0-10 seasons on the previous years before I got there. But, Coach Potter being who he was, about the third quarter, I think at halftime even, he caught my attention. He was like, "Don't worry." He goes, "I'll take care of you." I was thinking, thank you. So, he called the dogs off early, and it was nice. But there was still one of those moments that I'll never forget. As a player, you know what? This is weird. I don't know if this will be something you've ever caught before, but as a player, I would say just the relationships and friendships that you develop over the years, not just high school and college, but even like all the way far back as, you know, 4th, 5th, and 6th, you know, little boys club football that I played. You know, one of my best friends for years and still today was a kid who was a running back, and we played football 4th, 5th, and 6th grade. Now, he's a great tennis player, and he played tennis at Marion College. He never went on to play football, but at that point, you know, we've been friends for that long. So I would say as a player, probably the relationships far outweigh any game type situation that I mean, those things come and go, the games do, but, you know, these people that you meet along the way, they just stay with you, and hopefully you're a good person and they stay with you forever.
Yeah, I know the relationship that we have, it's been very strong over the last 5 or 6 years. And, you know, we never got to call a game at Knightstown for you, but we have done some Pikes games with you. And the Newcastle game, I remember still meeting you. I think you were our first TV game ever when Mount Vernon playing Newcastle. And you said, why did you pick this game? This is, we may not have an opportunity, but well, thank you for all the things that you've done. I know when we're at the grill, because we're not too far away from each other, and we go out and eat, and there's times that we're just swap old stories. And, you know, we went through some rough times. We both lost a great friend last couple of years, and it's just been nice just to get to know you and your family. And you're a blessing to us, Coach. I really appreciate what you've done for us.
Well, and from our standpoint, we totally appreciate what you guys do for high school sports. It's amazing. I can't tell you the times I sit and listen to a basketball game that you guys are doing. A lot. So we appreciate that too from a coaching standpoint. It's nice to get our hard work out there for people to see and hear.
Well, we appreciate you. Thanks very much. We'll talk again, Coach, and thanks for joining us today.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it.
We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll have a lot more for you. You're listening to Indiana SRN and the Sports Zone.
Piper Group Warehouse has a strong commitment to their clients as their logistics provider. If you would like to discover how you can improve your service levels while lowering your overall cost, Piper Logistics Group can help. Call Greg Piper today at 317-396-3916. Piper Logistics Group.
Having an electrical problem? Berkner Electric has your solution. We provide professional residential and commercial electrical contractor services to Indianapolis and surrounding communities. With more than 30 years of experience, we have a reputation for safety, excellence, and competitive pricing. We are fully licensed, bonded, and insured for your protection. Electrical work can be shocking, so leave that problem to the pros at Berkner Electric. Call for a free estimate, 317-773-7663.
At Auto Express, we offer friendly customer service, exceptional work, and fair pricing. Customer loyalty and confidence are important to us. When our customers have questions, we are ready with answers. We're open weekdays 8 to 6 and Saturday 8 to 3. Come visit Auto Express at 9065 East Pendleton Pike, just east of Post Road, or call 317-897-6618. Auto Express, we're here for your auto repair and maintenance needs.
You're listening to IndianaSRN.org. Hey, it's Keith Myers, and thank you very much for everyone who has helped us with this Sports Zone. And we've been very blessed, and we just hope that you enjoy the rest of the Sports Zone and all the things that we try to do for you here at Indiana SRN. You can reach us at Indiana SRN by our email at coach@indianasrn.org. Twitter is at Indiana SRN. Hope that you enjoy the next segment. It's Andy Reid and some encouragement for our athletes, and I hope it encourages you. It's Indiana SRN, where you're always in the game.
This is Andy Reid, the head coach of the Kansas City Chiefs. Sitting here in my basement getting my work done. We're doing our scheme evaluations and all our personnel work, getting ready for the draft. But I know you guys are working like crazy and having to stay at home and keeping social distancing going on with family and friends. And so, listen, my heart goes out to you. Keep staying positive. We're going to get through this thing. And then you're going to be able to get back to school and enjoy all your buddies and your teachers. So listen, work hard, do all your schoolwork. Don't get frustrated with mom and dad. They're trying to do the best for you, and make the best of this. Keep a positive attitude. Take care and go Chiefs.
You are listening to the Sports Zone. Keith Myers with you. Tony Donahue is our next guest today. Tony, you and I have been around a lot. I guess now it's been 3 or 4 years since you worked for us, and you went elsewhere, and then you came back. And it's good to have you back on the team.
Well, I appreciate it. It's a really weird time for, I think, everybody in this world. You kind of just sit back and you think about how much you miss sports, and then you kind of get a chance to sit back and think about what really matters in life and how there are bigger issues and what goes on the basketball court or a football field. But glad we're here, glad we're all healthy, glad we're staying alive.
You know, you talk about your career in radio, and you were the up north boy. You played in the region. You didn't know how to play basketball until you came down to Indianapolis. But talk about your days up in the region.
Yeah, so I went to Portage High School. Grew up there all my life from the time I was born till I was 18 and left. What was weird about me growing up, I think more than anybody up there, was I was always a Pacers and a Colts fan in an area where everybody was Bulls and Bears fans. Now, the Bears thing doesn't really matter as much, but being a Pacer fan in the 90s growing up, when the Bulls are obviously the best team, for about a 7-8 year run there, it was brutal. The Pacers finally got to the finals, and I was in 6th grade, I believe, in 2000. But, yeah, so that was kind of different, and I was always infatuated with the Pacers and the Colts just because I was a big fan of the Speedway and the race, and just kind of enjoyed and looked forward to my trips down to Indianapolis. And living where I did, maybe I took Chicago for granted. It was always there. I was there often. It was a 30-minute drive away. It was what it was, and it wasn't something that I ever fell in love with. So the only Chicago team that I actually support is the White Sox, which, a lot of people could say, well, you're not a Cubs fan. How come? Well, White Sox have as many rings in the last 100 years as the Cubs do, so we'll just call it even.
Hey, talk a little bit about your racing background with the Indianapolis 500. Have you done any of the e-racing lately?
Yeah, so I've been watching it and been paying attention to it, and it's really cool to see just kind of all the elements and aspects that go into these races, whether it's NASCAR or IndyCar. For example, I haven't really done much iRacing. A buddy of mine just bought a setup, so I'm going to have to get in and check it out, see how good I am. Probably wouldn't be that good. But it was cool because there's so many different ways and avenues to watch on the internet these races, and there was one on Sunday night, and Connor Daly was racing, as well as Alexander Rossi, who we know won the 500, and Colton Herta, who won 2 races in his rookie year last year. Well, Colton and Alex were out of the race, and Connor was the only driver left doing like 248 laps around St. Louis. Well, I guess there's something called Twitch, and you can watch people game, basically, get on their, whether it's whatever game it is, you can watch them. So I dialed it up, and I'm kind of watching Connor, and there's a video on him. There's a screen on him, and there's a screen on the race, and you're kind of watching. And then Alex Rossi and Colton Herta could chime in and talk to Connor during the race, and everybody could hear that. So they were kind of playing strategy to it. So it made it very entertaining because it was a very laid-back setting, and those guys are just having fun. So, but yeah, for me growing up, I just went to the 500 every year since 1994. Always been a fan of it. Kind of fell in love with it. Fell in love with the speed, the color of the cars, the drivers, everything that kind of goes into it. And then when I got a job in radio, I knew it was where I wanted to be. Was working at the station that covered the race. So I had a really good 10-year run over at 1070 The Fan downtown Indy, and got to do a lot of things with what was in the month of May. Now it's going to be the month of August, or maybe even into beyond.
Yeah. Now, are you going to be involved in the month of August with the 500 this year as well?
Well, we're going to try. I've already reached out to try to get credentials, but obviously all that's kind of been pushed back and delayed. But certainly with my podcast and with Twitter and having a lot of engagement when it comes to IndyCar, I'm going to do my absolute best to be out there as much as I can and kind of covering the race, covering the qualifying, and just seeing how it's going to be different this year, because it is going to be in August and it's going to be hot. Yes, we've had some hot Indy 500s, especially over the last couple of years, but this is the end of August, so we'll see. It should be a hot one. We'll see how the drivers adapt to that, adapt to the new windscreen. It kind of has them enclosed into the cockpit. So this is the time of year, Keith, where I'm ready to go. It's April. It's a nice 55-degree sunny day, and I start thinking May and being out at the racetrack only a month away. But now it's 3 months away, so we got to hit the reset button and wait till August. Yeah,
you're talking with Mark James earlier this month. We talked to him on the show, and he goes, I can't wait. I'm chopping at the bit. There's so many things that he's getting ready to do, and it's going to be a new era for everybody. Thank goodness it's only going to last 1 year. It's we'll go back into the month of May in 2021, but looking forward to it.
Yeah, and I tweeted this too. I said, the bad news is we got to wait an extra 3 months. The good news is that we're going to have the race. Hopefully it's in front of fans. I think it will be, as long as this pandemic kind of settles down, or maybe there's a vaccine for it that people can readily have. But the good news is that we're going to have 2 Indy 500s in a 9-month span. So that's good for fans. But yeah, I'm always chomping at the bits to get out to the track, and here in sunny Indianapolis, when the weather starts to turn, you kind of start thinking the month of May in the race. So be a little bit delayed, but hopefully we'll be able to run it as normal as possible, and especially with fans out there to be able to enjoy it.
People like you, 9 months is nothing compared to what it could be, right?
I'm telling you, I'm 31 years old, and, when people in my 20s would tell me to enjoy it because time flies, I was like, yeah, okay, whatever. But no, that's definitely the case. I mean, I've been at my new job for 4 months already, and I left radio 10 months ago. We're going on a year, so it's just kind of crazy. Time flies. But yeah, that 9-month span probably won't seem like it's all too much, and we'll be able to see how they incorporate all the other races there too, what the schedule looks like. Right. Will they get it started at the end of May, and what races we'll be able to see? Because I'm looking forward to, even with the 500 in May, I'm looking forward to what 4th of July weekend brings out of the track with the Grand Prix with IndyCar, followed by the NASCAR Xfinity Series on the road course, and followed by the Brickyard 400 the next day. Yeah,
it should be a lot of fun. Hey, we're going to take a break. We'll be back in about 2 minutes. You got another segment for us?
Absolutely.
All right, we'll take a break. We'll take this 2-minute break. When we come back, a lot more with Tony Donahue and you on Indiana SRN, where you're always at the game.
Piper Group Warehouse has a strong commitment to their clients as their logistics provider. If you would like to discover how you can improve your service levels while lowering your overall cost, Piper Logistics Group can help. Call Greg Piper today at 317-396-3916. Piper Logistics Group.
If you find yourself confronted by unwanted pests in your home or office, then you need to contact the professionals at Kim Mountain Pest Control. We offer quality pest control solutions at an affordable price. We specialize in ants and termites. We're also available to handle a variety of other pests, including roaches, fleas, and flying insects, as well as rats and mice. Don't wait until pests cause severe damage to your home or property. Contact the team of experts at Kim Mountain Pest Control today.
Do you want to hear your favorite team on IndianaSRN.org? It's easy to do, calling all the play-by-play and colored commentary. High school sports along with youth sport, Mr. Wizard is waiting for your call. Contact him at 317-443-0052. We're ready for every touchdown, basket, and goal. Contact Mr. Wizard, 317-443-0052. You're listening to IndianaSRN.org. Back on the Sports Zone, Tony Donahue is on the hotline. Tony, it's been a while since we've seen each other. I know we were going to do high school regionals, and we didn't get an opportunity to do that. Football season's coming up, and I know you're getting ready for the SRN big-time meeting, but hope we get that done in the month of July so you can do whatever you need to do in August.
Yeah, it was kind of weird that entire week kind of leading into, you had sectionals, you had IndyCar, you had NASCAR, you almost had almost every major sport. We were really diving into the college basketball postseason, and then all of a sudden with Rudy Gobert, the Utah Jazz, he tests positive, and it just kind of seemed like, and I don't want to really compare it too much, but it kind of reminded me a little bit of 9/11, where just everybody's world stopped and things changed forever. Like, our lives will forever be changed by this. And on top of that, I mean, the difference, I think, with that and 9/11 is this has affected all of us. We are all affected by this, whether it's just simply not being able to live a normal life or knowing somebody that comes down with it. So, I wish we could have got to call some regional games, some semi-state and the state finals this past weekend. But I'll tell you this, my streak stays alive of 10 consecutive high school basketball state finals worked. So haven't got that streak taken away from me just yet.
Well, that's really good. I'm glad for that. I'm happy to hear that. Hey, you ready for your quiz?
I didn't know there was going to be a quiz. As long as there's no math involved, I should be okay.
There's no math involved, and it's all easy. Would you rather watch Gilligan's Island or Andy Griffith?
Andy Griffin, but it's got to be the black and white episodes.
Barney Fife, for sure.
Yeah.
Taco Bell or Burger King?
Man, that's a tough question because, it's interesting, Keith, because when I go up on Thursday nights or Sunday nights to play with some of my buddies up at Horizon Christian to play a little basketball, a little pickup, on the way home, there's a Taco Bell and a Burger King right next to each other. Yep. It's always a tough decision. But if it was my last meal, I'm going to say Taco Bell.
If Nick Olson keeps on playing on Thursday nights when we get back at this, he's going to foul you when you get done. You know that.
Well, I don't go much into inside the three-point line, so he's going to have to step out and guard me if he wants to do that.
He played for me, so he never guarded anybody.
Yeah.
How about Go ahead.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's what, I was concerned that my basketball leagues were going to be postponed because you can't stay within 6 feet of somebody, which is true, but I don't really guard anybody within 6 feet anyway, so it wouldn't be anything different for me.
And every person that I've had as a guest that will probably agree with that. Spinach or carrots?
Neither, but if I had to, I'd go raw carrots dipped in ranch.
Email or text?
I'm a texter, like, way too much, and it's funny because when all this is going down, if you have an iPhone on Sunday, you get, like, a report that says, like, your weekly screen time was up or down.
Yes.
And my screen time lately with nothing else to do but be on my phone, like, at night has gone way up. So definitely text.
Yeah, my screen time since we started this show about a month ago has gone up about 38 to 54%. It's crazy. Last one here for you. Pizza or Subway sandwich?
That's another good one. I think that they both have their place. Like, I love if I'm out doing something or out on the boat or going to a racetrack, I love a good Subway sandwich. But, man, I will never pick anything probably over pizza. I could eat pizza every day the rest of my life. I'd probably eat cheese every day of my life. But I'm going to go pizza for sure. When
this is all done and we have our SRN meeting, Giacomo's Pizza is going to be the gourmet meal that we're going to have just like we did last year. Tony,
I'm down for that.
Yep. Tony, thank you so much for your time. I know you're a busy man. Appreciate it. Looking forward to seeing you in the month of August and looking forward to having you on board with us during football season on Indiana SRN.
Absolutely. Always love to come on. Always love to help. Let me know when you need me. Take care.
You bet. Tony Donahue will take a break. When we come back, a lot more for you. You're listening to the Sports Zone on Indiana SRN, where you're always in the game.
Welcome to Corin's Manufactured Homes, family owned and operated since 1955, located at 9622 Pendleton Pike in Indianapolis. We invite you to take a look at our manufactured homes and all of our wonderful Indianapolis communities by visiting our website, Corin Homes, CORONHOMES.com, and clicking on the community of your interest, CorinHomes.com, or call today at 317-897-1043. Corin's Manufactured Homes.
Question. When you walk into the boardrooms of the most successful companies here in Indiana, who do you meet? Answer. Men and women who played high school sports. Education-based high school sports give us more than athletes we can root for. They give us leaders we can depend on. Question. So where will we find tomorrow's leaders? Answer. High school sports.
This message presented by the Indiana High School Athletic Association and the Indiana Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
Craving comfort fresh food made from scratch daily? Check out Aspen Creek Grill. Located across from Hamilton Town Center and beside the Holiday Inn, we offer family farm-raised premium Black Agnes steaks hand-cut daily, creamy pastas, salmon chicken, and fall-off-the-bone ribs. Start with our famous powwow shrimp appetizer, and don't miss our refreshing drinks. Family-friendly or a great night out with friends. Aspen Creek Grill. Aspen Creek Grill, Noblesville. Call 317-559-3300.
We'll be back after this 30-second timeout with our guest, Jake Gilbert, the head coach of Westfield High School. Right after this timeout, you're listening to Indiana SRN, where you're always in the game.
There's no greater anti-poverty measure than to give a person a job. That helps them start to change that trajectory. Thousands of people get jobs here from all of these diverse backgrounds. We're helping write that story of that better future that we know they can get, we know that they deserve.
Morales Group is a full-service staffing company that provides temporary labor in the Indianapolis, Central Indiana market.
Come talk to us. We would love to work with you.
You're listening to IndianaSRN.org. And where you're always in the game. And with us now is Jake Gilbert, the head coach at Westfield High School. Hi, Coach.
Hi, how's it going, everybody?
We're doing really well. How about you? How's things going for you guys?
You know, we're making the most of it. I've always felt like if I could have a year where I could have a sabbatical, and in my mind, I would, kind of go around and I study other programs and coaches. And so I can't quite do the travel part, but I'm just trying to look at it as a great opportunity to read, to do some podcasts and watch some coaching videos, and just be a little closer to God and closer to my family. So I'm trying to make the most of it, exercise and play games and watch movies and all that kind of stuff too, So it's been good. I'm grateful.
Yeah, I've never understood Zoom or what, we've been doing webcast and internet radio for a long, long time, but boy, there's a difference, and it's interesting to do it in your studio at home, because now I'm only 10 feet away from home, which is really kind of cool. And I think Debbie kind of likes me being home more, though there's sometimes she'll shut her door and say, okay, my time. So very interesting times.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what changes going forward, like what systems and different things that we keep from this time that have, been innovative and are here to stay. It'll be interesting.
Yeah,
it's going to change some things in our society. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Let's talk a little bit about the year you won the state championship. You go back to that. How much fun and how much relaxed was that when you realized you reached your pinnacle and those kids played really hard the year before and in that year to win the state championship?
Well, it was, if we're just being honest here, it was pretty much the first thing I had thought about when waking up for about 15 years. So, I was so fortunate as a player that I was able to go to state a couple times. We won one, and it was just such an amazing thing. And I just wanted our guys in school and our community to be able to experience that. Well, we went in 2013, and it was truly an amazing thing because, the year before we were no good, and we'd never been any good, really, at Westfield since 92 when they were 2A. I think there was one year they won the sectional, though, as well, in between. But we went in 2013, and it was an amazing ride. Most kids had never won more than 3 games. I think they won 4 games once. And shoot, we found ourselves in the state championship where we got beat by Cathedral and Terry McLaurin, and just a great job by their coaching staff. And we got shown what it's like. And you would have thought that experience would have been such a wonderful experience that there would have been a lot of fulfillment. But to be honest with you, it emptied me so much as a person. I mean, I think we had such a magical year that for it to end that way, it was so emotionally abrupt for us that I just, as positive as it was very, very hard to view it as a positive until we made it back and won it. And so the validation of winning it in 16 was not only for that team, but it was for just everybody who had just put in so much labor into this Westfield program for years. And part of the people I felt the best for, even though they were no longer there to experience it, was those 2013 kids. Those kids that trusted us and helped us build it and got a taste, but not quite the full meal, And so the amazing thing was just the validation for our entire community and school and the administrators who believed and all those kids who had come and were still in the pipeline who thought we can win a state championship even if, we thought we were going to beat Cathedral in 13. Maybe we were the only ones, but they killed us. But, point was, we believed, and 16 was the most gratifying thing because it just felt like validation for what the Lord had brought us here to do and validation for all of these people who had given so much and sacrificed so much because they believed that we could do it. That's the answer.
Yeah, you go back to those things, and we were with you in 2015 and had some of you in 2016 on internet radio, and it was a lot of fun for us to be with you, and you allowed us to talk to your kids and prayed with your kids, and that those years we can never bring back. But thank you for on behalf of our crew. I know Sean did play-by-play those years for us, and we really appreciate you letting us come along those years to be with Westfield.
Yeah, it was an amazing ride, and I truly believe that, and I don't know why, but I just believe that God wanted to use football as a tool here. And, it just happened to be in the right place at the right time. It's emotional to think about it. It was just such a blessing to be a part of, and for so many people to get behind us and just to be able to give him credit and glory. And, the day we won that state championship in 2016, 100 people volunteered to come out and pray for our program at a public school. That's just unbelievable. And I didn't ask, it just happened. And so it was just bigger than us. But we still had to go out there and get first down on the start to run, don't get me wrong. But it just seemed like there was a purpose to it that was deeper and bigger.
Coach, talk a little bit about the Coaches Association since the time that we have away, and what are they trying to rally the coaches with? I know I talked with Mike Kirshner and Kevin Miller, and they're looking forward of August coming, but what's the Coaches Association doing? Because I know that's a real good knit body of men and women that's involved in that.
Well, we're just in such a situation right now where there's just no, this is new for everybody. there's no playbook to this, but I think the Coaches Association has done a pretty good job of just sharing information and trying to encourage guys to share ideas. I mean, right now it's not about what can we do to get, a little bit better than Brownsburg or Avon. It's really what can we do to use football to stay connected with kids everywhere. So, as coaches, we can't be selfish. Now is the time to just say, hey, how can we be there for each other and connect with each other and our staffs? And then how is anyone doing anything successful out there to just keep their kids engaged? Because that's really the biggest worry, is that, they're away from us. We worry about what these guys are going to do when we see them every day. Let alone now. And there's some basic needs, right? I know when I coached at Ben Davis High School, I feed kids all the time. So, there's some basic needs about, like, are our kids eating? Are our kids safe? But then there's emotional needs, too. So even if they have a refrigerator full of food, some of these kids, we're their support group. And so as coaches, I think we're sharing ideas. I think we're using it as an opportunity to get better. And those are two valid purposes right now.
Coach, we're going to take a 2-minute break. When we come back, we got one more question for you and then a little quiz. Can you stick with us?
You got it.
All right. Jake Gilbert from Westfield High School will be back right after this.
There's no greater anti-poverty measure than to give a person a job. That helps them start to change that trajectory. Thousands of people get jobs here from all of these diverse backgrounds. We're helping write that story of that better future that we know they can get, we know that they deserve.
Morales Group is a full-service staffing company that provides temporary labor in the Indianapolis, Central Indiana market.
Come talk to us. We would love to work with you.
So you called us because you're stressed from all that clutter taking up your space. The best part is we do all the heavy lifting for you, so you can just sit back and relax. Our hunks call at least 20 to 30 minutes prior to your appointment window. You don't need to lift a finger except to point what items you would like us to haul away. Thanks again for choosing College Hunks Hauling Junk, and we look forward to providing you with a stress-free hauling experience.
You're listening to Indiana SRN, God's Word 24/7, and sports.
Question. When you walk into the boardrooms of the most successful companies here in Indiana, who do you meet? Answer. Men and women who played high school sports. Education-based high school sports give us more than athletes we can root for. They give us leaders we can depend on. Question. So where will we find tomorrow's leaders? Answer. High school sports.
This message presented by the Indiana High School Athletic Association and the Indiana Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
Craving comfort fresh food made from scratch daily? Check out Aspen Creek Grill. Located across from Hamilton Town Center and beside the Holiday Inn, we offer family farm-raised premium Black Agnes steaks hand-cut daily, creamy pastas, salmon chicken, and fall-off-the-bone ribs. Start with our famous powwow shrimp appetizer, and don't miss our refreshing drinks. Family-friendly or a great night out with friends. Aspen Creek Grill. Aspen Creek Grill, Noblesville. Call 317-559-3300.
You're listening to Indiana SRN, home for God's Word 24/7 and sports. Back with Coach Jake Gilbert from Westfield High School. Thank you very much. And Coach, again, thank you very much for spending some time with us. I know you're in between meetings today, so thanks for your time.
Thanks for having me.
Let's talk about your high school career. What is the most memorable thing that you ever did in your high school career?
I guess the team accomplishment of winning state as a sophomore. Now, they won all those games without me. I barely played, but to be a part of that team was amazing, and it was certainly an amazing team, 1991 Ben Davis football team. So that was an honor, and to be able to kind of just see see it done like that right away obviously served me well as a coach. But then just individually, always grateful for the relationships that I've had just playing the game and next to teammates that you care about. Just being out there with those guys, and I was a defensive player, so, it's kind of being out there with those other guys just in one unit trying to stop this other team and playing together, or the guys that you play next to. I loved that. I did. So I guess I would say my teammates.
Again, we want to thank you. And here's your quiz. Are you ready?
Gilligan's Island.
Okay. Spinach or carrots?
Carrots.
Wow, good for you. Barney Fife or Gomer Pyle? Who would you rather hang out with?
I'd probably say Gomer Pyle. Learn a little bit about the military.
Okay. Cake or pie?
What's that?
Cake or
Cake
pie?
Or pie? Oh, gosh. I kind of like both of those. I'll say apple pie.
Okay.
To be specific.
And the last one, ice cream or frozen yogurt?
Oh, ice cream all day.
There you go. Coach, I thank you so much. I appreciate you spending some time, and we really appreciate what you've done for Indiana SR, and you're the best. I know you pray for us, and we pray for you all the time, and we can't wait to get out on the field in August.
I hope so, brother. I really do. I can't wait. I hope it happens.
Yep.
So, yeah, God bless you guys, and thanks for everything you do for coaches and Indiana high school athletics and just amazing ministry. So thank you.
Thank you, Coach. We'll talk to you soon. And we'll wrap things up right now. It's Indiana SRN. Thanks very much for joining us. We'll talk to you again tomorrow on Indiana SRN, where you're always in the game. You're listening to Indiana SRN, God's Word 24/7 and sports. Hey, it's Keith Myers, and thank you very much for everyone who has helped us with this Sports Zone. And we've been very blessed, and we just hope that you enjoy the rest of the Sports Zone and all the things that we try to do for you here at Indiana SRN. You can reach us at Indiana SRN by our email at coach@indianasrn.org. Twitter is @IndianaSRN. Hope that you enjoy the next segment. It's Andy Reid and some encouragement for our athletes, and I hope it encourages you. It's Indiana SRN, where you're always in the game.
This is Andy Reid, the head coach of the Kansas City Chiefs. Sitting here in my basement getting my work done. We're doing our scheme evaluations and all our personnel work, getting ready for the draft. But I know you guys are working like crazy and having to stay at home and keeping social distancing going on with family and friends. And so, listen, my heart goes out to you. Keep staying positive. We're going to get through this thing, and then you're going to be able to get back and